In the early 1900s, science faced a serious problem. Electricity was understood, but control was weak. Machines could generate power, but they could not process signals quickly or precisely. Communication was slow, measurement tools were limited, data was often unreliable. Then came a fragile invention, a glass tube with a glowing filament. This was the vacuum tube. At first, it looked simple. Inside the tube, air was removed to create a vacuum. When the filament heated up, it released electrons. This process is called thermionic emission. Scientists noticed something important. These electrons could move in a controlled way. That meant electricity could be guided, not just produced. Early versions like diodes allowed current to flow in one direction. Later, triodes added control grids. This allowed signals to be amplified. Weak signals could become strong. This changed everything. Radio communication improved quickly. Signals could travel farther and clearer. By the 1920s, vacuum tubes were used in radios, telephones, and early computing machines. But something else was happening quietly. Scientists began studying atoms more closely. They needed precise instruments. They needed devices that could measure very small electrical charges. Vacuum tubes became essential. By the 1930s, physics was entering a new phase. Researchers discovered that atoms could be split, released huge amount of energy. But understanding it required accurate detection and fast signal processing. Vacuum tubes made this possible. For example, Geiger counters used vacuum tube circuits to detect radiation. These devices counted tiny electrical pulses created by radioactive particles. Without amplification from vacuum tubes, these signals would be too weak to measure. In laboratories across Europe and the United States, scientists relied on these glowing tubes. They were fragile. They could break easily. They generated heat. They consumed a lot of power, yet they were the best tools available. By the late 1930s, research intensified. Data collection increased. Experiments became more complex. Scientists needed faster switching and more reliable circuits. Vacuum tubes stepped into this role. They acted as early switches. They could turn electrical signals on and off rapidly. This ability would soon become critical, not just for science, but for something much larger. A global conflict was approaching, and hidden inside these delicate glass tubes was the beginning of a technological revolution. The atomic age had not yet begun, but the tools that would make it possible were already glowing in the dark. By the early 1940s, the world had changed. War had begun. Science was no longer only about discovery. It had become a race for survival. At the center of this race was nuclear research. The Manhattan Project brought together thousands of scientists, engineers, and technicians. Their goal was clear: understand nuclear fission, control it, and if possible, weaponize it. But there was a major challenge. Nuclear reactions happen extremely fast. They produce radiation signals that are weak and brief. Detecting and measuring these signals required precision electrons. Vacuum tubes became the backbone of this effort. In laboratories like Los Alamos, complex electronic systems were built using thousands of vacuum tubes. These systems performed several critical tasks. Signal amplification. Radiation detectors produced tiny pulses. Vacuum tubes amplified them up to 1000 times or more. Switching. Tubes acted as fast switches, enabling circuits to respond in microseconds. Time circuits, accurate timing was essential. Even a difference of 1 microsecond could affect experimental results. One key instrument was the oscilloscope. It used vacuum tubes to display electrical signals as waveforms. Scientists could see invisible events such as particle interactions. A radar technology, also powered by vacuum tubes, played a parallel role. It improved detection systems and influenced electronic design. These advancements fed directly into nuclear research. The scale was enormous. Some facilities used over 10,000 vacuum tubes in a single system. Maintenance was constant, tubes burned out frequently, engineers had to replace them daily. Despite these challenges, vacuum tubes enabled rapid progress. By 1945, the first successful nuclear test, known as the Trinity test, was conducted. Complex measurement devices recorded the explosion's intensity, timing, and radiation output. Almost all of these systems relied on vacuum tubes. Data from the test showed that the reaction released energy equivalent to about 20 kilotons of TNT. This confirmed theoretical predictions. Without vacuum tubes, this level of measurement would not have been possible. However, these systems had limits. They were large. They consumed huge amounts of power. They generated heat and required cooling. Reliability remained an issue. Scientists knew they needed something better. Still, during the war years, vacuum tubes were unmatched. They transformed fragile experimental setups into powerful analytical systems. They allowed scientists to move from theory to controlled experimentation. In many ways, vacuum tubes were the hidden engine of the atomic age. They did not split the atom, but they made it possible to understand, measure, and control the process. And as the war ended, a new question emerged. What would replace them? After 1945, the world entered a new era. Nuclear technology had changed global politics. But another transformation was quietly unfolding in electronics. Vacuum tubes had done their job, but they had clear weaknesses. They were fragile, a small shock could break them, they consumed large amount of energy. A single tube could use several watts of power. Multiply that by thousands, and systems became massive and inefficient. For example, early computers like the ENIAC used around 18,000 vacuum tubes. It occupied a large room and consumed about 150 kilowatts of power. Tube failures were frequent, sometimes every few hours. Engineers needed a better solution. In 1947, a breakthrough came at Bell Labs. Scientists invented the transistor. Unlike vacuum tubes, transistors used solid materials to control electrical signals. They were smaller, more reliable, and far more efficient. This marked the beginning of the solid-state era. But the legacy of vacuum tubes did not disappear. Their design principles influenced early transistor circuits. Concepts like amplification, switching, and signal modulation were carried forward. Engineers who worked with tubes adapted their knowledge to new technologies. In nuclear research, electronics continue to evolve. Transistor-based systems replaced tubes in detectors and measurement devices. This improved accuracy and reduced system size. Data processing became faster. By the 1960s, digital computers could simulate nuclear reactions. This reduced the need for physical testing. However, vacuum tubes still found niche uses. High-power applications such as radar and particle accelerators continued to rely on them. Even today, some specialized systems use tube-based technology. Looking back, the role of vacuum tubes is often overlooked. They were not as famous as nuclear scientists. They were not as visible as atomic explosions, but they were essential. They bridged a critical gap. They connected early electrical theory to practical, high-speed electronics. They allowed scientists to measure the invisible. They made it possible to control reactions happening in fractions of a second. In simple terms, vacuum tubes turned ideas into data and data into action. The atomic age was not built by physics alone. It required engineering, precision, and reliable tools. Vacuum tubes provided that foundation. Today, modern electronics are millions of times more powerful. A single microchip can replace entire rooms of vacuum tube equipment. Yet the basic principles remain the same. Control electrons, amplify signals, process information. The ghost in the machine was never truly a mystery. It was the flow of electrons guided by human design. And it all began with a glowing filament inside a fragile glass tube.